From the causal Markov framework, we know at least one of the limitation is the issue of equivalence, right? That means we still got some uncertainty to determine. And the more we can remove the uncertainty, the more we are closer to approach the the identification. So identification here means we can identify the causal diagram from the data. And of course, there's no free lunch. So additional restriction is needed. For example, we have the causal minimality and causal faithfulness. And notice that this is quite following the context of the Markov property. When we are talking about causation, we have two aspects. One is the conditional independence, and this is required and ensured by the Markovian property. But now we don't have something like a compulsion on the causal dependence. So that is why we need some restriction here because we hope something that is non-causal can be prohibited. Let me explain this from the example. Suppose I'm a plumber and given a pipe and the flood of water going like this, by turning off the valve at point B, I can cut off the flow of water, the water dependence from the point A to point C. And if I put a connection for another pipe here, then the flow of water can pass through from A to C again, right? But however, if there is something wrong inside this point, okay, there might be something wrong in the repair, or might be the issues about the gravity. I don't know, but that's pretty abnormal. So that's not a good thing because that will increase my burden of the work. Um, you know, Initially I wish a minimal amount of work here because I just need to check out the direction of the water by turning on or turning off the valve. But now you tell me I need to further repair the pipe. That would certainly put some extra work to me, and I would not be delighted about that, right? So you see, the analogy here is that when such a situation happens that is pretty abnormal, or we say it doesn't follow the causal significance. So when can I get a minimum amount of work? That is when all the causal insignificance, or in this example, that's when all the situation that is abnormal, there's something wrong about the connection here, right? So when all such that situation prohibit uh, I will get a minimum amount of work. Okay, so that is the moral about the causal minimality. Okay, and it's what is restriction requires us to do. And for the later one, for the causal faithfulness, it turns out those two restrictions are basically the same, but the later one is more stronger. Again, let me explain this by the example. Did you remember this? This is the microsystem we talked about in the previous episode. And we say the Markov property we hold again in such a microsystem, right? So if we apply the causal minimality into this system, that means we need to make sure all the causal dependence to function pretty well. There should not be accident here. Okay, that is we have to make sure all the dependence. So from the connection from the computer to the circuit, I have to make sure, and I have to make sure the connection from the circuit to the keyboard and the mouse. Okay, so if this, okay, if this one function pretty well, then when I push the button, I wish the working states of the keyboard and mouse would faithfully listen to my control, right? But what if there's something wrong? Okay, again, maybe there's some pretty accidentally the bark in the circuit, then that the situation would be quite unfaithful. That is what we that is not we something we wish to see in the situation, right? So you see the point in this slide is that restrictions such as causal minimality and causal faithfulness, they are not abstract concepts as they sound like. In fact, they are pretty reasonable because it reflects our wish. We wish to have all the things to work normally. And again, when can a thing work pretty normally? That is when all the thing that is abnormal, that is it doesn't follow the causal significance, prohibits, can we say, okay, we hope all the things to work normally? Okay, that is the point about this restriction. And in the next part, let's take another perspective about the second restriction, and we will back to the causal mechanism again.